It has been a minute since I had the Transformers animated Voyager Optimus Prime figure. I did actually used to own the original animated Voyager Optimus Prime back in the day, and sold it off I think I sold it off well before I got back into collecting and way before this channel started. But I remembered liking it, and then I found out this existed and was like, well, I'm doing the Nemesis Prime thing, so I need to track this down. Now, of course, as some of you may be aware, and some people may already be trying to nitpick me on, this is not Nemesis Prime. This is Transformers Animated Black Optimus Prime. This is just Optimus Prime in black. It's not a different character that is, a figure of Optimus Prime in black. This is, as I understand it, just straight up Optimus Prime in black instead of red and blue. But this is a black repaint of Optimus Prime. So as far as I'm concerned, that makes it a part of the Nemesis Prime collection, which makes it a part of NemeSeptember. If you all have a problem with that, deal with it. But yes, this is... I'm probably going to be referring to him as a Nemesis Prime throughout the rest of this video, and really I don't care, so don't try nitpicking me. But the point is, this is animated Voyager class Optimus Prime in black, and it's cool. It's a really cool figure that has a couple of things that kind of show its age, but it's still really neat. The aesthetic is fantastic, and it looks so good in these colors. Though, because this is an Optimus Prime in black rather than an actual Nemesis Prime, just that brightness a little bit. Because of that, you've got an Autobot logo instead of a Decepticon logo, and it looks a little weird. Not just because it looks out of place, but I feel like the bright white and red, just color-wise, kind of don't work that well with this deco. I feel like something darker, maybe a purple, would look better. But even then, I feel like if nothing else, this may have looked better if they didn't do the white border and just had the red Autobot portion, like the red portion of the Autobot logo stamped on there, because then it wouldn't stand out so much on the black, but whatever. Anyway, the vehicle itself is this compact little fire truck thing, I guess. And it gets the job done. It hides the robot stuff pretty well. You do have feet sticking out of the ends, but they tuck away okay, and this junk on the back definitely helps to hide things. I kind of like how this changes the silhouette of the classic Optimus Prime truck, too. Because now it tapers down and makes it look almost more like a van or something like that, or like a standalone vehicle rather than the front part of a tractor trailer. So that's cool. And also you've got the water cannon on the back, which can rotate if you really want it to. It can point forward and hose down fires, I guess. And it does the thing. It also, you can push this in and it'll squirt. I'm not going to do that for many reasons, but you can just, if you pop this out, there's a little cap there. You can pop that out, fill it with water, and then push this in, and there's the little nozzle that the water sprays out of. And without this on there, it's just a little hole. But yeah, it is surprisingly difficult to get this in place. There we go. Yeah, it's a nifty little compact truck design. I like it. And now you can, of course, take these accessories off. There's this kind of settles in here, so you can pop that up, and then these bits pop out right here. And if you remove this assembly with these accessories, now you're left with a more typical Optimus Prime cab mode. So I kind of like how this gives you the option for both. If you want the more classic looking Optimus Prime cab, you can do that. Or if you want something different, which, yes, please, you can do that too. Though the shapes on this one are definitely different. It's got a lot more interesting angles and just an overall more interesting shape to it. There is a little bit, you can just see it in here. There's like a molded side window, but it is not painted. And I understand why, but it would kind of be nice if that stuck out a little bit, but oh well. And yeah, the detailing's nice for what you get. It does kind of bum me out that this silver stripes that you got from, like, you know, it kind of goes all the way around, where you've got like the bumper in this nice silver, going up to the grill in the nice silver, and then the light section going all the way around in that silver. But then you get to here and it's like turquoisey, not even turquoisey, it's just metallic blue. That's kind of like, why? I kind of wish that either this was silver like the rest of this, or that this metallic blue was used to go along here. Not necessarily for the grill, but just for this line here, or even just here to here. I feel like that would have been better, but that's not what they did. And yeah, a lot of this stuff we'll be seeing in robot mode anyway, but yeah, you've got the red up there and silver on the wheels, or rims, which I think is really nice. And yeah, it's a nice deco. The colors are nice. Got a little bit of red for the lights up top, and of course red for the little siren lights, red for the windows. And now the red is dark and it does blend in a bit with the black, but because these are really big and the red is kind of like a rich, deep, saturated red, I feel like while tonally it does kind of blend in with the black, it still does stand out, so I appreciate that. And this chunk adds a little bit more detail if we just pretend it's still attached. I like how this kind of continues that black along the side, and it also continues this line, but again, it breaks up the color, and that just, why couldn't the color have been more cohesive? But I appreciate how this integrates with the truck. We are going to keep this detached though, because it doesn't change the size of the truck for size comparisons, and we're going to need to take it off for transformation anyway. So I put the truck back there and get ready to show off some size comparisons. So here we've got Artfire and Thread the Needle and Rotor Storm and Ova Prime and Samus and Burnout. And yeah, it's an old school Voyager, so it's pretty big. Like, this is, again, if we're ignoring the fact that Deluxe, Voyager, Leader, Commander, all that stuff are now like price points and not size classes, like ignoring all of that, this old school Voyager is about the size, I'd say, as like a modern Leader. But then, you know, you've got complexities and stuff to deal with. But that's kind of how that shakes out. And let's get these out of here. And got an extra little size comparison to make before moving on. So I don't have much in the way of animated stuff in the collection anymore, but one figure that I do still have is Soundwave. So here you can see how the Voyager Prime mold compares to a animated deluxe. So that's how those two stack up. And finally, the thing everyone's always waiting for, here he is with the duck tank. Alright, transformation time, except before we get to the transformation, just want to say, if you like this video or any of the other videos that I've done, or appreciate the return of NemeSeptember, you can always support the channel via Patreon. There is a link in the description. It's just the only thing I have is a single $1 tier, which of course supports the channel and will also get you access to new videos a little bit early. And possibly other stuff in the future. I'm contemplating doing like polls and stuff like that. But if you want to support the channel monetarily, that's how you can do that. Or if you'd rather support the channel in a way that doesn't require money, you could always like comment, share, subscribe, that kind of thing. Additionally, there is a different link in the description for a Discord server for Show Z, which is an overseas website I've used for several years for orders on like Masterpiece, Third Party, and KO stuff. They're great, wonderful customer service, good prices, free shipping to the US most of the time, and yeah, if you use the link to join their Discord, then I get a little bit of store credit that I could use to buy more stuff in the future, so that's another option. with all that out of the way, let us transform what is basically animated Voyager Optimus Prime. And this is an interesting transformation that does a lot. It's animated, so it's like really clever engineering that does a lot with not a ton of work, which I really appreciate. So first thing I'm going to do is unplug this bumper and then untab these wheel sections and bring them out. Is basically this tab here plugs in right up here. So I'm going to untab that, swing that down, and we'll do the fun part first. So this is the part that's like, whatever, but there's this button back here that when you pull up, it unconnects this bit here, and you do the little automorph thing that's this toy's claim to infamy. So you pull that up, or no, push it down, and there we go. That actually worked really nicely. And with that down, you can kind of give it a little extra click to lock that in place. You can still rotate the waist once it's down, but yeah. That little rotation gimmick is fine for what it is, but like it's really unnecessary. You can see the little like gear mechanism back there, and it's a whole thing that really didn't need to be. But anyway, with all of this in place, we can split the legs, extend the legs. They just pull up and kind of click into place. This part I don't really like because this connection right here just doesn't seem like, you can see it, especially on this side, you can see it kind of wiggling. I don't like that. And I've tried tightening these screws, it doesn't really make a difference, but it just worries me kind of yanking up on that. These don't want to fall back down, which is good. The slider mechanism is really nice in that regard, but I just worry that like this joint could potentially get damaged or stressed over time with the yanking, so something to be careful with. Anyway, these wheels pop out and fold in, and I think it's kind of cool. You can see how the wheel shifts up along this track here when you flip it in. That just like repositions it and kind of fills out the leg a little bit. I think that's cool. So you flip those up, flip out the toes, and then these pieces fold in, and this little tip of the bumper folds back, and this all folds in and tucks against the leg and gives you some pretty clean legs, all things considered. I like how this works in that like all of the truck tires end up at the ankles. I just think that's a cool look. So there we've got the lower body all done. Now the upper body, this is probably my favorite thing for any Optimus Prime transformation, is these little bits here. You untab these little panels from the front, and then you swing the arms out, and then you can pull out these fists, and then these will actually tab into the backs of the fists. And it's not as dramatic when everything is black. In the regular Optimus Prime figure, these bits are blue, so the black thing against that kind of makes it like gloves. But I just think that's really cool how this panel covers up this midsection to kind of clean things up for the truck mode and make things more cohesive, and then it just folds out to become the back of the hand. I think that's a really, really nifty approach to an Optimus Prime transformation. And you still get the classic Optimus Prime transformation of the arms tucking into the torso waist section there. I know why they don't do that now, because there's no way you're going to get a wrist swivel out of that, but still, I think it's cool. Anyway, you fold out the shoulders in the usual manner. They actually tab into this plate back here, so when you pull these out, you can see that's where it tabs in, and rotate them forward, as you would expect, because Optimus Prime. And there is pretty much the entire figure, and all that's left is the head. So you want to take this panel and pull it up, and these little tabs kind of nestle in here. So pull that up and back, flip up the head, and then this will fold all the way back on a double hinge, and this goes back into place. And I like how this works, how there's this these little notches in this little platform that the head sits on, so that when this gets plugged in, it keeps the head from shifting up and down. That's really nice. I wish things that had head platforms like that did that more often. And then you've got this little gimmick thing, which we'll talk more about later. But that is it. There is Transformers animated Voyager class Black Optimus Prime in robot mode, and it's a really, really cool design. I really like this. Like, Derek J. Wyatt, rest in peace, is just so incredibly talented when it comes to Transformer designs. And yeah, I feel like virtually every single character design in Transformers Animated was an absolute winner. The figures, that remains to be seen, because they're trying to take these designs and turn them into actual physical objects. So I get why some of them aren't all winners, but the actual designs of the characters were all fantastic. And this Optimus Prime is great. I love the simple angles and how it kind of, it's hard to explain, but he's got kind of like an hourglass shape to his entire body, where all of the shapes from the legs up kind of taper in, and the shapes from the torso down also taper in. It's just a really cool look, and again, lots of really nice angles. I like how it's got this simpler texture, which really evokes the whole animated aesthetic. I again love how the arms kind of fill in this section for the truck mode, but then when you move them, it gives him that much more slimmer stylized waist that lines up with the pelvis section really nicely. That's just it's all just a really cool design, and it does a lot with really simple overall transformation steps. Like, I can't say the engineering is simple, because like it's simplistic, but it's like really, really smart. So simple is kind of the wrong word here, but the transformation is fantastic. The figure looks amazing. The only thing that sucks about the transformation is that gimmick, but like, even if that gimmick breaks, you can still transform the toy. So there is that. And yeah, this just looks so good. The silhouette is very heroic, which, yes, when we, assume this is supposed to be like an evil version of Optimus Prime, which it's not, but I consider it Nemesis, so it's like, yeah, maybe heroic's not the best thing, but it works. It's a really cool design. And now here, that metallic blue for the shoulders makes a lot more sense, but that's kind of why I was saying I really wish they had kept that line going at least along here, if not all the way up to here. Because I feel like the metallic blue is definitely a great look for the robot mode, but I feel like they really could have brought that more into the truck mode a little bit. But yeah, color breakup is really nice, and this is I mentioned this in the last video for the Netflix Siege, or not Netflix, the Takara Siege Nemesis Prime, where the biceps were black, so that the arms are all black and stuff like that, and how it kind of looked a little bit weird. But here you can see this design does it too, where you've got silver in the thighs, but not like the biceps are black. The arms are entirely black with some added details. Though this guy, I think, pulls it off a little bit better, because you've got this added metallic blue in the shoulders. Yeah, it's just a fantastic design that's not too busy. It's really nice and sleek and angular. There are some nice little touches that really go a long way for me, like these little knee spikes. The fact that the thigh sections are also kind of both curved and angular in places. They're not just like boxes with molded detail on them. Again, that tapering in the midsection is really cool. I love the torso design here with these like lights underneath the windows, and the more typical Optimus Prime lights right above the windows, and the windows themselves. Really, really cool angular shape. It's just such a neat robot design, and the figure is incredibly clean. Like, you've got a little bit of bumper on the backs of the legs and a little bit going on here, but that's not really much of anything. And then like this, and that's it. Like, there's really no junk on this guy. It is super cool. It looks really good. And then there is the face, which I'm not the biggest fan of this look in general, but also just for like Nemesis or Black Optimus Prime. Like, I get it. I think the sculpt is nice. The coloring is really nice. I like the silver neck, silver face, but then black helmet with the metallic blue stripes going over the top, with bright red eyes. It's really cool. Actually, let me double check. I think that's... Yeah, okay, that's... What is it with animated and the spectacular light piping? I thought those were painted, but that is just straight up light piping. Those eyes glow. And I don't even have light directly above the head. They're glowing like that with light that's like over there. That's really cool. But anyway, I think it's a cool design and stuff. The problem I have is this little faceplate gimmick. Hi, Astrid. Really? Why do you have to... Astrid? Fine. Okay, cat's in the shot now. But yeah, the faceplate gimmick. I don't like it. I mean, I think I like the idea behind it. I don't like the way it's implemented because the faceplate just kind of half-heartedly folds down just below the mouth. It doesn't look good. It doesn't really give you that proper look at the Optimus Prime face that you normally see in animated. But you flip this little lever down, the faceplate goes up, and now all is forgiven. Because yeah, I think that's cool. How you just flip the switch up to reveal the face, flip it down to cover it up. This, especially because I consider this a Nemesis Prime, even if it's technically not, is how I have this guy displayed at all times. And that is, yeah, that looks good. I like the angles of the faceplate. I even like this little bit at the bottom, which I think is their... I don't think that's actually a design element of the character design. I think that's just for the toy. But that kind of works for me because, one, it's black, so it blends in a little bit because of what's going on down here, so it's not that big a problem. But two, it kind of evokes like a Gundam faceplate to me, so that's kind of neat. Other thing that kind of sucks is when you push this down, this little bit kind of nestles into the... Okay, there you go. You can push it down a little further. So it nestles down. It shows a little bit more of the face, but it still kind of looks like he's got this weird turtleneck thing going. But with that nestled down there, you're not going to be able to turn the head much because that little tab is sitting inside the neck assembly. But when you pop it back up... Oh, geez, did I get it stuck? Uh-oh. Hold on. All right. I may have made a mistake. Hang on here. Let's try and push that back up. There we go. All right, just got a little stuck. It's okay. We're okay. Nothing's broken. Nothing's permanently jammed. But anyway, yeah, with the thing fully pulled down, you cannot really turn the head. So this gives you the better head rotation. And I just think it looks cooler. So yeah, that's how he is going to look from this point on. Now for articulation, the head is on a rotation joint at the neck, which is not the best look, but it gets the job done. And because everything around here is black, it kind of blends in, so you don't really notice the entire platform moving. Though it is at an angle, which is a bit odd, but it works. The shoulders can go all the way around and they can go out, but there's actually a secondary joint here, so you can bring the shoulders down to go up even further if you want. So there's actually a lot of outward motion on those shoulders, which I think is cool. You get a bicep rotation, you get a elbow that can bend all the way back or can bend to slightly under 90. As I mentioned before, there is no wrist rotation because all that locks together. The waist rotation is there. On this one at least, it kind of doesn't want to move, but if you pull up slightly, then you get the full rotation, though because of the mechanism, it's very loose. It does not take much to rotate that waist around, which is a shame. But, you know, for poses and stuff, it's not too bad. It's just anything involving weight is going to make it swing in one direction or the other. The hips can go forward to almost 90 and back to almost 90 and out to past 90. Now, this is the thing that disappoints me about this figure. The waist thing is fine, whatever, but what disappoints me about this is he does not have thigh swivels. And really, the way this is put together, I feel like they could have made that happen. Maybe they didn't because of the slider mechanic, I don't know. But then again, they gave him knee swivels, so I feel like they could have done it. And maybe they didn't want to break the sculpt, but I don't buy that. He could have had thigh swivels and he just doesn't. You get a pretty much 90-degree knee bend, and then you get the knee swivel, but the knee swivel is below the knee, which is the worst place to put it, because instead of being able to swing the leg around like that, all you're doing is rotating the shin. And like, you can work around it in some poses, but it's still not ideal. I really don't like knee swivels. I prefer thigh swivels. And then you get nothing at the feet except you can like point the toe. So articulation for this guy isn't bad. It's just the lack of thigh swivels. Like, unlike RID Scourge, he at least has knee swivels, so you can get some kind of leg swiveling action going on. So I feel like in that regard, he's at least better than Scourge for articulation. But that's, I don't know, it just, I really wish he had proper thigh swivels. That would have been a lot better. Now, for these things, he does have his accessories. So there's this water cannon thing that just pulls out of that little assembly and plugs into his hand as this little pistol thing, which is fine. It gets the job done. And then this piece opens up, and I don't really know why this hinges, because it looks better if you leave it down anyway, but you can hinge it up like that if you want. And then this swings down, and that allows you to make a very large axe. And the axe is kind of silly, but I also like it. I think it's fun. I appreciate the axe for being an option. And I believe I've seen this before, that there's a way to, like, if you fold this up, I think what people do is they like use this little lip thing to hook over the back, and it can kind of give him wings, which looks kind of neat, but it sticks out a bit far, especially with this piece. Like, if you push that down, then that's okay, but now it's just kind of, I don't know. It would have been cool, I think, if there was a better way for this to attach to the back, and maybe there is, and I'm just not sure of what it is, but I don't know. I think it'd be cool to give him, like, proper wings. Also, I think this could have potentially worked as a shield, but there's really no way to attach it for that. So, for now at least, it's going to be an axe. Rotate it this way so that the detail's facing the camera. And yeah, it's, as I said, it is a somewhat limited figure, but a really cool design, and it looks so good in what is basically Nemesis Prime colors. Astrid, why? I love you, but my goodness, cat. Okay, size comparison time. We're going to bring in our usuals first, as always. So here is art. Actually, okay. I'm going to get the axe out of his hand just so that we have more room to work with. But there is Artfire and Rotor Storm. I'm sorry for covering up your lovely face, honey, but I've got to do this. And Ova Prime. And Burnout. And Samus. So there is both Transformers Animated Black Optimus Prime and just Transformers Animated Voyager Class Optimus Prime. And yeah, this is, as you can see, this is what I was talking about, where I said this seems more like a leader, like modern leader figure compared to the modern Voyagers and stuff. But again, there is more parts and complexity with some of these. Like, yes, this has the mechanical gimmick of the waist rotation thing, but that kind of sucks. So it's a toss-up. But you know what all of these, well, these three figures have that he doesn't? Thigh swivels. I know, but I can't help but be salty about it. It just seems like such a weird thing to miss, especially because they did have the room for it. I can only assume they didn't want to break the sculpt, but again, he at least has some kind of leg swivel. It's something. It's better than Scourge in that regard. And for our animated comparison, here he is with Soundwave. And actually, you know what? I should have thought of this before, but I do have one more animated comparison I can make, as I do own a grand total of, oh wait, no, I can do 3. They're scattered all over the place because my current layout, my current collection setup is I have all the same character representations together. So, like, all of the Nemesis Primes are together, all the Megatrons are together, all the Optimus Primes are together, so on. So yeah, trying to remember all of my animated figures. And so there we've got animated Blur and animated RC. So you can see how he stacks up with all of the other animated figures I currently own. And he is big. He is a tall boy. And again, as I've said many times, he looks really, really good in those colors. Really good. All right, let's get these things out of the way here and wrap this up. So goodbye Soundwave and Laserbeak. And hello to our final size comparison, the Duck Tank. And that does it for Transformers Animated Black Optimus Prime. This is an incredibly cool figure that was definitely not cheap. It was not cheap. Had to get it off of eBay through a seller in Japan. And it's, like I said, not a cheap figure, but it is really cool. I think the figure on its own is neat, aside from the thigh swivel thing. And the colors just look so good. It is a really, really nice figure. And I didn't mention this earlier, but I do really like also this kind of matte finish all over everything. Something very... I don't know how to describe it. It's good. It looks and feels good. So yeah, that is going to do it for this figure. What do you all think of this guy? Or Voyager, animated Voyager Optimus Prime in general? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. Unless you're that guy who comments "ew animated" on all my Instagram posts, you can touch grass, as the kids say. But other than that, let me know what you think. Thank you everybody for watching. And in the next video, we are going to keep rolling, no pun intended, but kind of still intended, with another Nemesis Prime figure that is a little bit, well, not Nemesis Prime, Black Optimus Prime figure that is a bit on the tricky side to get a hold of these days. So next time we're going to be looking at this.